I'm Shane Sparks with Enrollment Resources. Today I'm going to be talking with Lynelle Lynch. Lynelle is president of Bellus Academy, and Bellus has been called the Harvard of Business Schools. And I read rated #1 for job placement by Modern Salon magazine, and basically you've got a whole slew of awards. She's also been called or been named one of the top 10 innovators in career education. Bellus is an incredibly impressive organization. Lynelle is equally an impressive person. And Lynelle, you're the only person I know who owns a golf course.
Oh,
Thanks for joining me.
thank you for having me.
Yes, you know, one of the things I've always admired about you is your ability to put yourself in the center of influence. And I vividly remember when you joined the sector and you kind of came out of nowhere and all of a sudden you're on the board and you're the kingmaker, right? You know everybody. And it was like 0 to 100 in no time. Were you always like that?
I think the secret in all of business is to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. So whether it was starting out in retail or professional sports or whatever I've tried to do, I really go to the experts in the industry and probe questions, ask about their success, and find where the opportunities are. And this sector, I thought, had tremendous opportunities, which is, I think, why we are differentiated against a lot of other beauty and wellness academies out there.
So I don't remember, how did you even come to own this school? Like, I don't remember the story.
Well, I was engaged to my husband, and he has 30 different businesses. You know, as you mentioned, we have a resort up here in Oregon with an Arnold Palmer golf course. He had 3 beauty colleges in California, and the lady running them passed away of a heart attack.
Oh no.
And so he asked me to close my business and go see if we should sell them, close them, or keep one of them. And that was my journey into this space.
And when was that?
It was 2005, so it's been a long time ago.
Okay, 2005. So you're new to the sector in 2005, you don't know anything about it, and it's, hey, do we even keep this thing, or is this a lost cause or what? So what did you find? So you walk in the door and you're evaluating things. What did you see then?
A beauty college. I immediately went to the national organization. I immediately called an advisory board because I'm a huge spa and salon client and know a lot of people that own some of the top prominent spas and salons in San Diego. And I got them all into an advisory board. And I said, how do you work with beauty colleges? And to my shock and really concerning, they said, we don't, we require 5 years experience. So I just said, I'm going to change that. And they all laughed at me. And 2 years later, I had really recruited some top people in the industry to say, I want to change this. I want to add advanced education. I want to build something where people who enter this industry actually have a leg up toward these top spas and salons. So those same people that said, we require 5 years of experience, they now say, oh, we'll hire a Bellus graduate or require 5 years experience. So it was a long 2 years of renovating the schools, adding 6 new advanced programs, getting that all through accreditation, expanding, renovating. My husband thought I was a little nuts because he thought, why are we pouring all this money into a business? But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I was very relentless about the beauty and wellness professionals because I have, through many opportunities, met the most amazing individuals who chose that trade and have made themselves millionaires, billionaires, and are very passionate. So it's my opportunity to pay my success forward and mentor that next generation. And Shane, as you know, that's why I was one of the founders of the Beauty Changes Lives charity. And
yes,
we celebrated 10 years of raising money and making a difference and providing scholarships and mentorships.
Okay, so that's a social mission, right? So what, and I wanted to talk about that. so beauty changes lives, so 10 years old. So how did that come about and why bother? Like, I don't, at the time, I remember not seeing the direct connection to your business and think, oh, I don't know, she's gotten bored, she's whatever. And then, of course, I was 100% wrong. And this thing became, I don't know, it's like a branding exercise that you could attach Bellus to. Is that how did it come about? What was the genius that I didn't see at the time?
Thank you, Shane. Two things. One, I was on the board of the National Association of Cosmetology Schools, and I was chairing the PR category, and I got $50,000 dropped into a bucket, and they said, go create the Got Milk campaign that's going to transform the perception of the industry. That was a tall order.
Sure.
And then just personally meeting my students, one lady changed my life. She was in her 60s, and she said she had to get a divorce and get her kids out of the house to finally pursue her passion. And when I kept hearing the stories day after day, 75% of my students, when I started Beauty Changes Lives, and I think that statistic is still true, have gone to college first. No one told them that a career in beauty and wellness was a career path that could be a first choice. And so literally I was blessed by having Ted Gibson and Jan Arnold, the founder of Creative Nails, rally with me to really put on a staged event, which is what we did first. And we called it Beauty Changes Lives. And people ran up to us that evening going, we want to help you with your initiative. And I'm thinking, oh my, this is big. So that's when we, went down the pathway of creating a nonprofit. And the last little bit I'll share is Ruben Carranza, who was the CEO of Wella, I invited to be on the initial board of directors. And that's right after Vidal Sassoon had passed away. And Procter & Gamble was trying to figure out how to recognize and memorialize his history and his legacy. And Ruben's like, I'm on the board of a nonprofit. And he calls me in July, literally 3 days after I got my IRS paperwork in the mail. And he said, are we really a nonprofit? And Procter & Gamble donated 1.5 million. And so that was really a major catalyst to help Beauty Changes Lives in its very early days. But today we're celebrating 10 years. We've got 17 members on our board of directors, all top CEOs in this industry. Robert Passage and I are the only school people on the board. They're all individuals trying to make a difference.
So those are two examples you shared where conversations, right, just getting to understand what maybe I'd call pursuit of the truth or just trying to understand, led to a brainwave, which led to a massive opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. So can that be one of the lessons then? Talk to people.
I think we all have to have our eyes wide open to where the world is evolving to, and opportunities just come at us every day. It's whether or not we have the courage to investigate them, the courage to really ask the difficult questions and create an opportunity. And trust me, I've failed as many times as I've succeeded, but if you don't try new innovations, if you don't try and put new curriculum or new innovations in terms of how your students gain information, how the classroom works, you're not helping evolve our space. And the trades are very important to the United States. They're very important to the world. So we have to understand our role and responsibility and not be governed by the little box of what state board wants us to do, but be motivated by where the industry is going and be very present in the professional industry.
Okay, can we talk about innovation for a second? Because you're super innovative. Is it all you? Like, how do you build? How do you get your team to support you on that, or how does that dynamic work in the school?
I think it's through brainstorming I think, yes, I can be an instigator, but when you pose one question and challenge someone else, and that just kind of goes into a spiral of creativity where people are allowed the opportunity. And this is why failure is so important, because when we launch something new, it might be because it is important to the industry, but maybe it doesn't fit in the educational curriculum at this time, but you've got to try or else you're not progressing. So I think the good thing about Bellus Academy is that people are inspired to make a difference. They're inspired to come up with innovations, and that's the way we progress.
And so you talked about failure. So you don't punish failure. So if you guys try something and it doesn't work, that's not a demerit or a, you know, an existential threat to somebody.
Yeah, I remember early on, I had an admission rep have this phenomenal idea about something that they wanted to promote. And I knew it maybe might cost a couple $1,000s. And, you know, at the time, it wasn't like an expense that I really wanted, but I wanted to allow them to do that, to expose the process of innovation.
Yeah, I think it's an important point. It's a thing we've noticed, right? Because I've, you know, I in enrollment resources, we're now at the point where most of the good ideas come from other people, not me. It's fantastic, right? It took a while to get there, and I think that allowing room for exploration and not punishing failure is the key to allowing that culture of innovation to foster. How do you, so you talked about opportunities. You must get a lot of them. How do you filter for that? Like
how do I filter things?
Filter opportunities. Yeah.
It really is a team, because like right now we've had 2 new technology innovations come our way. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not in the weeds of job placement. I don't understand how this technology might enhance or improve us, but the people that are there every single day will probably figure out if this is the right thing to do. But then I can see some of the creative minds that are really thinking about 10 years from now where the industry should be. And I can see where that needs to go, but I see the obstacles in trying to get the bricks and mortar to move in that direction. And I think when you try and break it down into baby steps of education or baby steps of implementation, it makes everybody else embrace it in a new way, because change is difficult. And I think that has been the mantra of Bellus. If we haven't changed every year, it's not a year for us. We have evolved and grown through so many changes. I think our team is just used to that as a regular process, because if you're doing the things the way you always do them, that's not going to make you successful. It's not going to make our students successful. And it's not going to make our team, by the way, inspired every day to be part of a brand and part of an educational company that is laser focused on the success of our students.
How do you think about branding? Right? Branding is this idea that it's a nebulous idea, right? And a lot of people think about it like advertising or logo or just like superficial things. I think you've built such a tremendous brand and have a holistic understanding of it. How do you think about it?
Brand is about a promise. Brand is about a mission and what happens when you are experiencing the environment that we provide. So a brand, you're right, it's not a logo, it's not a bunch of words, it's the experience. And if you can capture that into energy and excitement and passion, then you really have engaged your audiences. And again, when I first entered the school industry, everyone said, okay, we have one audience, it's our students. I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. We have the product companies, we have the salons and spas, we have the consumers. There is a myriad of different consumers and products and people and individuals that we should inspire. So, you know, when I created Bellus, so the schools were named Poway Academy of Hair Design, J Boutique, Bay Vista, there was all these different names, crazy logos with a mannequin head and scissors. Oh my goodness gracious. And I mean, Shane, I have to have a cocktail to tell you, it took me 4 companies to get to the actual name Bellus, which is from a 15th century Latin language, and it means beauty. And then to get to my logo, that took the 4th company. But, you know, no one really understood what we were trying to do. We were trying to become a new ethos in the entire world, where we were trying to elevate beauty and wellness education on parallel to the professional industry, where we felt the role of the educator was the elite in the industry, that it wasn't just like a job that you took after you became a hairstylist, that you just kind of like retired into this educational role. You had to be top of your game. And I'll tell you, I think it was in 2015, one of my educators competed in a national competition against all the professionals in the industry. And he won #1 in the nation against all hairstylists, and then went on to represent the United States in the international competition. And I'm like, I've always said the role of the educator is the elite in the industry. Because if you think about it, you don't have to be just good at your craft. You have to be great at your craft at the same time as being able to mentor and educate with passion and be able to share that knowledge with the next generation. So that's completely different than just an esthetician or a cosmetologist behind a chair. An educator, and I would love everyone to really understand that their team is really important to the future of our country, because they're inspiring and providing not only the education, but the confidence and courage to be great at what they do and dream big. Because just because you become licensed in one trade doesn't mean you can't become the next icon. It's great if you just want to be a stylist and be a great mom at the same time and have a work-life balance. But it's also great if you want to be the next rock star.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. Two more questions. The sector's under stress, right? You know, it seems to always be under stress. Are you optimistic about the future right now?
I'm optimistic because I strongly believe that the trades are the backbone of this country. Shane, as you know, I'm currently the chairman of CQ, and so I am intimately involved in everything that's going on in DC and passionately supporting the agenda that we have, and recognizing that collectively we all have very passionate, very smart, very focused individuals aligned on making sure that the trades are an important part of this country. So I have to be optimistic. So I guess I'll leave it at that.
What advice would you give to the school operator owner who's trying to grow, is unclear what to do to kind of take their business to the next level?
I think one of the most important things really is your advisory board and really the employers. You will find that if you bring them together as great allies, as great supporters to help you build your curriculum, they are, and they can become the #1 recruiters for you. They can elevate your brand. if they know your passion, if they understand your dedication to excellence in education, they're your biggest marketing research. And having them as allies, as huge supporters, is completely invaluable. And by the way, it doesn't cost much.
Yeah.
So when you think about, a struggling school or a school that just can't see beyond the day-to-day, building relationships and helping people understand your mission, your relentless dedication, the quality of education, the fact that we really do want our students to gain employment, and that you're a great source for that, is priceless. So to me, building my extern salons, building the relationship with the top spas and salons within my communities has been priceless, because the marketing dollars continue to be very low because the referrals are high and the partnerships of employment is very powerful. So it's really a win-win. And I don't see that as strongly as I would like to in many schools. I think they have their career service department in one lane, but I think it needs to become part of the entire academy. Everyone needs to be a part of that.
And it sounds like that outreach, that's a leader's role, right? That's not a thing that can be delegated. That is a person at the top fostering those relationships and being in the community and creating those connections with employers.
Well, and actually it's everyone's job. I mean, it's every educator's, the entire team is responsible, because in all due respect, they know a lot of people, and the more that they can refer in, the better. So no, I would disagree with you there, because yes, I can do only so much, but if I have 120 employees out there every single day talking to people, and every single day identifying new spas or salons that we should be including into our family, that's very powerful.
Okay, yes, fair
It
point.
takes a team to educate, graduate, and place. It takes all of us.
Yeah.
It's not just the admissions people bringing them in, it's all of us in the process. So I think we try and have a very holistic view of everyone's responsibility. It's not just the job description you have, it's the entire process of the success of our students.
Lynelle, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. This is super interesting. And I think it will be really helpful for everyone who's trying to figure out what do I do next? How do I take my school and turn it into something better? Really, really appreciate your time.
It's always a pleasure, Shane.
I will see you soon.
Yes, on the golf course, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, that'd be great.